Okay, I had a student write in with a question on the four verticals, and excuse some of the videography here. I'll probably be switching slides up and down and around, so I'm not an expert on that, so a little patience. But anyhow, try to synopsize the letter here. Deals with the one part of it deals with the long call vertical. Name the price you're assuming the underlying stock is when the call buyer and seller did a long vertical and was bullish on the stock. Okay, so that would be bullish on the stock. That would be the long call vertical. If I'm looking at it properly, let me see if I can get my program up here, and should be the long call vertical spread. First off, I put these out here somewhat arbitrarily just to let people see what they should look like if you put them in the platform, and to let people understand where you would be long and short at, depending on the long and short, which legs would be long and short, depending if the vertical is a long vertical or a short vertical. Hopefully I'll go into that a little bit more here. So give a little bit better explanation with some diagrams. But anyhow, let's deal with the first question first. Where did the seller, where did the transaction take place at for this? Well, let's take a look at where they probably took it at. And this is some of the diagrams in the homework assignment. Long call vertical spread. Get my highlighter going here again if I can. And in theory, the trade would have been made somewhere underneath the strike price, the long strike price. In this scenario, it's the long strike is 150. So the theory would be that you would have made the transaction down in this area somewhere here. There's a variety of reasons. I'll get into the specifics of why you probably would do that. You might even do it at the money, but there's profit and loss concerns if you start getting at or into the money. So for this, we'll just look at it as if the highest probability is you would make the trade down in this, down underneath or out of the money area, down below 150, which 150 is the long strike price. Also bear in mind that all these examples here are going to deal with expiration Friday. There are a variety of things that can come into the fluctuation of the profit between when it's put on and when it expires, dealing with the underlying and the Greeks and so on and so forth and volatility, but that's not being addressed until later issues. These are the thesis here is it's going to expiration Friday. Okay, so you would in all probability make it down here, and place the trade on. And why do you place a vertical trade on if you own it? Because when you own it, it is a defined risk trade. All verticals are defined risk. But if you just bought the long call, that too is a defined risk trade. All right, now that we got the solicitors off the telephone, let's see if I can, by memory, pick up and go on where I was. So, in this area, I've already shown where in all probability you would enter into a long vertical call. Also, that would deal with the long vertical put. You would enter that most probably in an out of the money area that I'm showing here with the cursor, with the expectation of the price driving down into this profit area. Now, one of the subsequent questions that the student had was, show me where you add, subtract, multiply, and what the profit is if the stock moves higher. So we'll will stay with the long vertical call. The profit would be between the short strike and the long strike. Short strike here is $1.50. The long strike's $1.52, minus whatever premium that you paid. Since you're purchasing, you're paying, or it's a debit. So let us assume, since they're $2 wide, let us assume you paid 50 cents for that. Well, $2 wide, 100 shares of stock in this scenario. 100 shares times 2 would be $200, minus $50 for your purchase. The maximum profit would be $150 in this area. Bearing in mind also that if the price drives up through, see if we can get the highlighter back on here. If the price drives up through this and beyond, the maximum profit you're going to get is between your long and short strike, which in this case is $2 wide minus whatever you paid, for instance, 50 cents. That's the maximum you can get. Now, as I was getting into, I think, why would you do this? Why not just buy the call? Well, the main reason to do this, let's back up. It's a defined risk trade. If you just buy the long call, it's a defined risk trade. If you spend whatever it may be, $2 for it, that's all the more you can lose if you're wrong. If you come out here and buy the long call and then sell the short call, which will take money, it's a credit and you'll get money back in, you can reduce the expense of entering the trade. But along with that, the downside is you have now capped your profit. So that would be the reason to do that, is capital allocation, being able to use your capital in more areas, not tying up a lot of capital just to participate in this long call scenario. Okay. So that is the reasoning there. The same thing would apply for, let me get rid of this. Same situation would apply for the long vertical put spread. Exact same scenario. If the price is in the out of the money area and you purchase the short vertical put spread, then your bias is that it's going to go down and would go into this profit area or perhaps beyond, and then you would pick up whatever the differential is. In this situation, 140 to 138 is 2. And again, if you paid, say, 50 cents for it, the max you could make out of it, my penmanship is worth nothing, be $1.50. There's no way I'm going to have that looking like anything. So the maximum you could make out of that in that scenario will be $1.50. Okay, let's wipe the slate clean on that. Now, I was also asked to do it for each one. Well, I've done 2 there. I've shown what the maximum potential could be. Let's deal with, and this will be simple enough, let's deal with the short spreads here real quick. Here's the short call spread. Okay? What is it that we're hoping for here, or we're believing? We've shorted this. The price is, you would, for dealing with entry, or where you probably would enter, the price is somewhere around here, around the 146 area. This is a short call. Okay, you go above there and enter into your spread. Here, it's more than just saving capital or maximizing your capital allocation. You're creating a defined risk trade here. If you just went short the call, that is an infinite undefined risk trade. In theory, it could go up into infinity, and you're just out. So you're creating a defined risk trade with this. Now, how much can you make? Very simple. You can only make the amount you got a credit for on selling this vertical. If you sold it for 50 cents, that's all you're going to make. No way can I draw this. Try not to laugh too hard. The most you're going to make is 50 cents out of it. That's it. And you make it as long as the price stays below the short call entry of 150, and it's yours. Okay. Same thing would be over on, that's a short call. See if we can find the short put. Same thing with the short put, only here again, the most you can make is 50. You've set it up as a defined risk trade, so if you're wrong, it won't knock you in the head. And you want the price to stay below whatever your short strike is. Here it's $1.40, so you want it to stay in this safe region here. The most you can make whenever you short something is whatever premium you've taken in initially. Okay, let me pull up the platform real quick. Maybe this will help, maybe it won't. I've already preloaded 2 verticals on here on this paper trade account. And as you can see, these are both purchases. One's on the put side, and the other's on the call side. Now, this may go a little further. I think what the student was driving at is, what's the math, or how do I decide where to go to enter these? That is up, and I don't mean this to be a generic answer, that's up to the individual trader's bias, risk management, research, et cetera, ad nauseum, on how close or far away you want to get to the current price or to the at-the-money strikes. So, and then that'll be dealt with in some of the later lessons on, risk versus reward there. So that comes into play. So as you get further away from the strike, you make less money, but your probability of success goes up. Conversely, if you get closer to the strike, your probability of success goes down, but you're paid for that risk. They pay you more money. So hopefully I've covered the areas that the student had in question. Thank you. Have a good day.